race number 1 of the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs is officially green.
And you see right off the bat right there, you see guys spinning the tires, and it stacks that field up mid-pack right there, but looks like everybody got away pretty clean without having a bowed-up hood or anything early on in this race.
Yeah, a little bump there right off the start. Looked like Honeycutt got into the back of the 11 of Corey Heim. I mean, I love these pictures. It shows how worn out this racetrack is. We'll ride on board Grant Enfinger right here. Todd, we watched him in practice yesterday. He was like in a cage fight with that thing yesterday, trying to get that grip, and it's just not happening.
Absolutely, and we watched him after 10 laps hanging on for dear life. It's going to be interesting to see how the what adjustments they made to make this thing better.
And you see right up front, you see Chandler Smith take the lead. Blaine Riggs had a big slide up off of turn 4 and had to check up off the throttle, and Chandler Smith drove right up underneath him. But you see right here, both lanes, you want to be all the way up against the fence or on those hash marks on the bottom. I always like to put the right sides on those hash marks and drag the truck around the bottom, but with these trucks, that momentum around the top is going to be hard to beat, and it's going to be the best place to save the tires.
Yeah, you talk about that bottom groove, Kevin. Years and years, nobody ran down there, so it actually has a little more grip probably than the actual groove.
Chandler Smith yesterday after qualifying, he talked about he needed something. They needed to throw some things at it to get some grip. They've done that. He is now leading, and as you see in the pylon, nice battle right here. Tanner Gray trying to get around Daniel Hemrick. Drivers in red, those are our playoff drivers.
There you see that outside momentum. Help him, Hemrick, keep that position. That's going to be key all day. Who can run up on the top? These trucks like the momentum. The way these motors are built, they need to keep the RPMs up. And around the top is obviously where you get the most RPMs.
And everything that you do right now with these trucks, when you're sliding the truck down, like you're going to see the 15 right here, he's going to drive to the apron. You see the 13 doing the same thing. They're on the apron right there, and then they slide back up the racetrack. I don't really like that. I don't think that's the great way to keep the back tires on a thing. I think you want to keep the truck straight. You don't want to slide. And to me, that's a slide, Todd, and that's hard on that right rear tire.
Well, we understand that because we've raced there a lot, but a lot of these young kids with little experience don't realize the more you slide these tires at Darlington, the slower you're going to go in the next 5 laps.
See Matt Crafton there in the 88. Big news since our last race, announced that he will be retiring. After 23 years, 15 wins, 3 championships, it's been an incredible ride. He's actually been in the 88 truck for 26 years, but he's had that Menard sponsorship for 23. So hats off to Matt Crafton. We'll enjoy these last 7 races for him.
Yeah, he's been such a staple of the truck series and champion and everything in between that you can say race winner, you can say just about anything that you want. As you see the 42 truck get a big slide up off of turn 2.
Matt Mills will have to give up that spot, not easily. As Matt Crafton goes around trying to get that 16th spot, but not so quick. Great racing early.
And this is always a give and take right here. As you see Matt shoot to the bottom, you see the 42 lift to give Matt that line. This is a racetrack where you don't want to fight. You don't want to have a side-by-side situation in any of the corners because of the position that it puts in the guy on the bottom that it puts him in to slide up into you. So you want to protect your truck. You want to take care of the tires. It's so hard to discipline yourself to say, okay, just make laps. This guy might be faster, but when we get to lap 10, 15, 20, you're going to see some really ill-handling vehicles.
Absolutely. The one thing I like watching Matt right here, I think his experience is shown right here. Look at that thing. It's not bobbling. It's not moving. He's easy on the throttle. He's easy on the brake. He's keeping those tires under him, and that's probably a lot of his experience at this track.
See Trevor Bain there in the Victory Junction #1 Tricon Garage truck. We've talked about it week in and week out, how Trevor is a driver coach for the Tricon Garage drivers. Corey Heim has mentioned him in his winning interview the last couple of races. Now Trevor gets a shot behind the wheel. Just found out last week that this opportunity was there. That's going to be a lot, guys, to not race for, I don't know, it's been a while since he's been behind the wheel, to jump in at Darlington of all places.
And no matter what division that you jump into, getting in against a group of people that race on a week-to-week basis is very difficult to get all the details out of everything to get the speed. So right now Trevor's he made practice and got through qualifying and did all the things that he did yesterday, but getting into that race rhythm, getting used to the fall off, knowing what your vehicle needs, and really being in the middle of the swarm of trucks, that's a little bit eye-opening in the first part of these races when he hadn't done it on a week-to-week basis.
Well, and that's what I talked about yesterday in his qualifying run. He was pretty good in practice, and he gave a lot up getting into 3, and I think that's just a lack of seat time in this truck through this year and going out and trying to do that in a qualifying run.
Yeah, and his last race was at Homestead in October of 23, so it's been a minute.
Guys, we got a great battle up front. Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith. They are great teammates, work well together, but only one can win the race, and this is a great battle early on. Hearing that Chandler Smith may have gotten the wall, gotten that Darlington stripe we talk about so often.
Yeah, and you see him go down the middle of the straightaway right there. That's allowing the spotter to look at the right side of the truck. But we talked about this in a pre-race. And that's the tough part about hitting the truck, and when it grabs the right rear and hits the front. Now he's got a flat tire.
He has a bigger issue right now. Chandler Smith, who led the first 10 laps of this race, got into the wall a little harder than expected. Ooh, he got a lot of damage.
I'm going to say that first wall incident probably pushed that fender on the tire and blew it out.
So he'll limp it down to pit road. Take another look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Flat right front for sure.
And this is what we talked about, guys. It's that risk versus reward early in these races. And then as we look from the 9 truck right here, you'll see that right front tire. But I think you're exactly right, Todd. I think that when he hit the wall the first time, it got the fender down on the tire, and now he's in big trouble.
Let's listen to his radio.
Pretty heavy on contact in turn 1, guys. Yeah, it's probably thanks for the call, NASCAR.
Yeah, and I don't know that you need to be blaming anything on NASCAR right now. You put yourself into the fence right there. There's no reason to start throwing blame anywhere but the driver's seat right there.
And last week at Richmond, Kevin, I got to talk to a lot of these guys about this Darlington race. And a lot of them already knew in their heads, and they had it drilled into their heads, we cannot scrape the wall. These trucks, if you do, this is exactly what's going to happen. If you get in there, even if you just scrape it like he did the first time, it gets the fender in on a tire, ended up with a flat tire, and you're pretty much done for the day.
And this is exactly what we talked about in the pre-race. You cannot win the championship today, but you sure as heck can put yourself in a position to lose it. And I think when you look at Chandler Smith's situation now he's behind, and that one mistake led to a bigger mistake, and now they're sitting on pit road trying to fix the truck. But you see Lane Riggs right here, he's got himself up next to the fence, and I think as we talked, it's going to feel a lot better. These trucks are very sensitive to being close to the wall, and the side force and the air that it puts on the spoiler. That grip goes way up when you get closer to the wall. So it's a dance.
So Lane Riggs leads 2 seconds over Corey Heim as we have problems for one of our playoff drivers, Chandler Smith, hard into the outside wall. They got it fixed up. He is back out. The NFL regular season kicks off on Fox next week as the Giants take on reigning offensive rookie of the year Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Or the Niners take on the Seahawks or other regional action. The NFL is back September 7th on Fox. That sound says it all. It is playoff time, it's NFL time, college football time. We've got it all happening. Right now, Darlington Raceway is happening as Lane Riggs continues to lead over Corey Heim. And we're hearing Caden Honeycutt may have an issue. Amanda.
Yeah, he's going to come down pit road here. They've been assessing this for a couple laps, telling the team that I have a flat. The team has been telling him, hey, it looks good on our side, but I do expect him to come to pit road now. The team is over the wall and ready to assess that 52 truck. Jamie?
Thanks, Amanda. Just halfway through stage number 1. Definitely an issue with the right front.
Well, and from the driver's seat, you just have to make that call. And, you know, when the tire's down 10, 15 pounds, you know that something is wrong. And right now, he's just hoping that that tire doesn't come apart anymore and rip the complete fender off.
As fast as he's going, he was lucky it didn't come apart.
Here, Matt Crafton had an issue as well. You see him on pit road. Caden Honeycutt, though, as he makes his way down to his pit box, he was 6th at the time. Matt Mills, guys, a lot of trucks getting into the wall already.
Well, this is what we talked about, Todd, that inexperience. And we say that, though, and Matt Crafton has been into the wall. It looks like the 52 truck there of Caden Honeycutt, I can't tell if he was into the wall. It looks like his may have just gone flat, but Matt Crafton definitely had some damage on the right front and had to come in and pit. 42 truck there of Mills, he definitely got into the fence, but that's what Darlington does. You have to have a plan to be conservative going into these races, but there's no other way to learn this, and that's what the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series are all about, are teaching these younger drivers how to go out there and race against the racetrack, and right now we've seen several mistakes.
And it's exactly that time of the race. As I said earlier, 20 laps yesterday, these guys are out of control. And this is what we're seeing, that, you know, these young guys, they don't understand that to pull the reins back, to slow it down. You can't get 100% out of these tires. You got to get 90 at the best. And most times you got to go 85%. If you don't, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in the wall. It's so easy, as slick as it is.
And now you're seeing this 34 truck start to struggle right there. He had a really tough time down in 3 and 4 last time, and Corey Heim is absolutely chewing that lead away. You saw Lane go to the bottom of the racetrack the last lap, but you can see the back of that truck is all of a sudden starting to really slip. See the truck right behind him, Corey Heim, down on the bottom of the racetrack, but all of a sudden this 34 truck is in big trouble.
That lead is certainly shrinking, and we're looking at Daniel Hemrick running 5th right now. Let's listen to his radio.
Dropping like flies around here. People already having issues. 2 playoff guys already, so it's got a solid day here. That's all I'm in for.
And I love that. The guy driving this truck, Daniel Hemrick, knows that too, and that experience of knowing how to race in these playoffs, but more importantly, knowing how to race against this racetrack is what is sitting behind the driver's seat right there. It looks like they're crawling through 3 and 4. The fall off all of a sudden has just taken a huge chunk of time away from a lot of these trucks.
That was crawling right there. That had to be 20 mile an hour slower than what he had been going through there with the good tires. But that just speaks volumes for Daniel and how smart he is and how much experience he has. He knew that these guys were going to start backing up and coming to him. And
Corey
this guy
Himes
right here,
reeling him in.
This has been Corey Heim's go-to all year. His long run speed is phenomenal every single week. And I've been saying for the last 15 laps, Lane, you got to slow down, and he didn't do it.
Corey Heim has some experience here. He's raced here the last few years. In fact, he made his Truck Series debut back in 2021. Now he is all over the rear bumper of Lane Riggs.
Yeah, and it's 5 or 6 tenths of a second a lap now that Lane Riggs is losing to Corey Heim. You see they've caught the back of the field here in lap traffic, so you know Corey's going to sit back there and just take his time because he knows that he is way better than the 34 truck.
Exactly. That's what we just saw through 3 and 4. Lane underneath the 33. Corey backed off, said, all right, I'm just going to let do. I'm going to save my tires this corner. And that's just such smart racecraft. And here we go. He's got a run on Lane, set him up off the corner.
Just got around Mason Maggio, who was in for Frankie Muniz, who, guys, was on a ladder this week, fell off, broke his wrist. They get around him, and this battle is heating up. They've got lap trucks in front of them, behind them.
And it's so narrow here that there's nowhere for Corey Heim to go. When those lap trucks are in a different lane than the Riggs truck, you just have to be patient. But he's going to make quick work of Lane Riggs. And Lane right now just needs to take care of his truck, not make a mistake, not get in the fence, make the adjustments on this first pit stop. He knows he's still in the mix here, but don't do what Chandler Smith did and take yourself out of this championship battle.
How about that move by Corey Heim, out in front for the first time today. 15 laps to go in stage number 1 from Darlington Raceway. Corey Heim continuing his streak. He has now led every single race this season. 19 of them he has led in all. Great action from Darlington Raceway early. Just 14 laps to go in stage 1. Corey Heim leads. Welcome back to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, live from Darlington Raceway as Corey Heim continues to lead. It's been a good place for him. He just doesn't have the finishes to show for it. One of his worst tracks, I think statistically speaking, this is his worst track. So what a good feeling to be out front again.
Well, he's going to tell you how terrible it's driving right now. As you started to talk about Corey right there, you saw the back of the truck just sliding all over the place. These guys are, I mean, it's like driving on ice, Todd. It is so hard to explain how all over the racetrack these things are. They're out there running 34-second laps right now. But that's the leader of the race that we see slipping all over the place. Imagine what the rest of them feel like.
Slipping and sliding, and he's driving away from Lane Riggs right now. He's almost a 2-second lead. It's incredible how smooth this truck actually is for this amount of laps on the tires, Kevin.
And a lot of times we've seen Lane Riggs kind of close the gap a little bit on the lap times. He hasn't closed the gap in general from first to second, but I think a lot of times you want to go fast, and then you see a truck pass you that's just kind of creeping along the bottom, keeping that truck straight, getting as much power down as possible to be able to just keep the truck and the momentum going forward without sliding the vehicle. I think Lane probably just slow down a little bit, keep the back of the truck underneath you, and just go as fast as the vehicle will go. That's what you do in these situations. And I think right there you see Corey Heim on the bottom of the racetrack. Those hash marks, that paint will start to get grip. And when I would drive here in the Xfinity cars and the trucks, I always like to get that right front tire on those hash marks. It's got a little seam right there, and you're able to just push the truck along with some partial throttle, as we see Ty Majeski on pit road.
So Ty Majeski makes his way down. You saw Caden Honeycutt, who came down earlier, battling Corey Heim. He was trying to get 1 lap back. He was shown 2 laps down. He does that, gets in front of Corey Heim. Let's listen to Ty Majeski.
I think I have a right front going down. I gotta come.
Yeah, and that's the difference between the Honeycutt situation and Majeski here. He knew that he had something wrong, and he made the call, right? And you know, when you feel that in the truck, it's better to take a chance and come to pit road, take your medicine, get the tires changed, and go back out. Now, it puts them in a position with a limited amount of set of tires. One of our championship contenders is going to have 5 or 6 laps on his tires here at the end of this first stage.
Well, and one of the biggest differences in those 2 scenarios is Caden Honeycutt's only his 2nd race with this team, and Jimmy probably doesn't know, you know, what his feelings, what you know how it is. How you talk to your crew chief can say a lot. And right there, you know, Majeski, him and Joe been together for a long time. He knew he had to come in, and Joe's not going to tell him not to.
Laps winding down in stage 1. Lane Riggs hanging on, 1.5 seconds behind Corey Heim. Grant Enfinger up to 3rd. Daniel Hemrick up to 4th now. Gio Ruggiero has been on the move, having a good showing so far. His first time here, running 5th. Tyler Ankrum, Tanner Gray, Corey LaJoy, who's in that 77 truck full-time the rest of the season, up to 8th. Raja Karuth and Jake Garcia round out your top 10.
Yeah, and you see 18 trucks left on the lead lap. That's pretty typical for Darlington when you have such a wide variety of handling characteristics and experience and all the things that go with keeping yourself in the game. But this guy's kept himself in the game. Grant Enfinger talked earlier and heard the report that he thought his truck was pretty good, qualified good, put himself in some track position. You see a lot of counter steer.
that was a big moment right there. And we watched Grant yesterday in practice, and he was struggling on old tires, really fighting the wheel. Looks way better today. Still a little back steer, but not too bad. But you know, Kevin, one thing I told these kids when I was talking to them about Darlington is make sure you pretend that you got an egg on that gas pedal. And you don't want to break that egg. If you go down there and break that egg and smash the gas, you're going to spin the rear tires. And same thing with the brake pedal. You drive it down in there too deep and hit too much brake, you're just going to kill your front tires. And that's what experience right here with Grant Enfinger, it'll do that for you.
Final lap is stage number 1 for Corey Heim. It's the 81 just ahead of him, Connor Mozak, with a throwback paint scheme. Hey, every time we come to Darlington, you can do whatever you want. Throwback has become a thing, and McAnally Hilgeman Racing did just that. Good to see it. 81 throwing it back to Kenny Wallace from his Bud Shootout car in 1998. And there he does it. Corey Heim wins his 16th stage of the season. Ahead of Lane Riggs, who led 20 laps, the most so far. Grant Enfinger, Daniel Hemrick, and Gio Ruggiero, the top 5. 3rd straight stage win for Corey Heim right here at this racetrack. Well, guys, they're all chasing the 11 again. Same story. We'll see what he can do, how many adjustments they'll need moving forward. We'll be back with pit stops next.
Here comes the move for the win. Corey Heim, rookie driver out of Marietta, not in the event. 30th position. He only made 14 laps today after that contact in turn 1.
Yeah, that was a tough way to start for him for sure. And all these tires being cut down and going flat around Darlington Raceway, certainly playing into stage 1 there. But, you know, these playoff points, they are so very important, whether it be one at a time or what have you. It is just so important to get all the points you can at this stage of the game.
So one thing to note that's different from the NASCAR Cup Series or the Xfinity Series is that these trucks run steel body trucks. They're composite bodies on Cup and Xfinity cars. Why is that important? Because when you hit the wall gently like Chandler Smith did on lap number 10, it cuts tires down easier. It damages the suspension in ways that it won't damage when you get a Darlington stripe. We saw that in practice earlier today with the NASCAR Cup Series. You've got to stay off the wall on these trucks. Chandler Smith fell victim to that. We've also had 3 playoff drivers that have had problems tonight. Chandler Smith is one. Caden Honeycutt is a lap off the pace of the leader, and the defending series champion Ty Majeski in the number 98 machine also off the pace of the race leader 1 lap after that right front tire went flat for him in the middle of stage 1.
Yeah, so they'll have to gather it up, do the best they can, and get back out there and see what they can do with stage 2 coming up pit road, about to be open here.
Packed first stage here at Darlington Raceway. And we have one playoff driver who had issues early. He is officially out, and he's standing by with Amanda.
Yeah, Jamie, and the first thing he asked me is where am I in the points situation? And Chandler, when you look at this being the first race of the playoff, how do you process this one?
I mean, it stings, right? And by just right now, it looks like we're +1, but still got 2 races left going back to Bristol where we won earlier this year, then going to New Hampshire for the last race of this round where I've been really strong at in the past as well. So I'm not really, you know, discouraged or anything about that. I think our pace and our trucks here recently have been really good. Everybody at Front Row Motorsports has been giving me a truck capable to go out there and win. Just made a mistake on my end today. Just got a little too greedy trying to run the fence a little too hard. And, you know, we're in steel body race cars, and when you get into it that hard, it just suckers you in, cut a tire, and you're done for the day. And used to Xfinity cars where you can actually, you know, go out there and learn and run the fence and kind of develop your craft. And you get into the wall, there's not a lot of repercussions in this deal. You can't really go out there and do that. So looking forward to hopefully those changes coming in the near future for these truckers. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of this round in the playoffs.
Thank you, Chandler. And Jamie, as he said there, he was kind of making a little joke of everything and said, man, I wish these things had composite bodies on them.
Yeah, no doubt. He made that clear there, Amanda. Well, he talked about the first round. 3 races make up this first round, so we'll go to Bristol next. Then Loudon. 2 drivers will be eliminated, so certainly keeping Chandler's eyes on the points. Well, pit road is open. Drivers are making their way down. They're going to be happy to get fresh tires here. They're coming your way, Amanda.
Oh, you're exactly right. Grant Enfinger was on the horn with his crew chief saying that now tires are normally important here at Darlington, but I don't think that they've been ever more important than they are right now. You know, Grant was kind of rubbing his hands together about the idea of having a midday race here in Darlington, and the heat is shining. Grant's going to pull into his pit box right there. They're going to take the 4 tires desperately needed, but make some balance changes as well to get that truck had lost total grip out there. Caitlin?
Lane Riggs in the middle of your screen, our pole sitter P2 in the stage saying way too free up top, and 3 and 4 the team electing to make a wedge adjustment on that 34. Corey Heim at the top or bottom of your screen, actually, he was the stage 1 winner. He said he's just a tick free. He thinks the balance overall is very good on that 11, but he did ask the team to assess the right rear for potential damage with contact with the 9. Jamie?
Thank you, Caitlin. A lot of adjustments as expected on this first round of stops for most of our drivers. Corey Heim's team gets it done. Well, NASCAR has lost a true visionary this month. Humpy Wheeler was a promoter and innovator of the sport, known for his fans-first approach, and it was announced that he will be joining the NASCAR Hall of Fame class of 2026, earning the Landmark Award. He certainly knew how to entertain. Nobody did it better. Humpy Wheeler was an original, and he will certainly be missed. He was 86 years old.
Because the cars are right behind us, this is one of our favorite spots to visit. You guys have been coming here for a long time.
Yeah, we've been bringing this rack here for about 30 years, right at 30 years.
How many people are traveling in this campground? You got all kinds of people running around. It looks like it's lunchtime down there. How many people do you travel with each race?
We've got a lot of local people that help every year. We've got a group. My nephew and his group came from another nephew and his group came from Pennsylvania, and some people from North Carolina come in.
It's almost becoming like a family reunion.
That's it. I think we're going to have about 30 people here for tomorrow's race.
Very good. Well, you can see they're having a nice time. They got a great spot up here, and these are diehard race fans that have been coming to this track, as you heard, for over 20 seasons now.
That was like a blast, Joey. I don't know about you, but growing up for me as a kid, I spent all the holiday weekends camping, and that's got to be one of the best campsites there is in the entire country on a holiday weekend, to be right here at Darlington Raceway.
No question about it. I mean, you look around, see these campers, these NASCAR fans out there tailgating, having a good time, meeting new friends, making new friends. I mean, it's the best, especially right here at Darlington Raceway.
That is what it is all about. So field's still working under the caution here as we move into stage number 2. A lot of things happening at the racetrack today, and an opportunity for you to get in on some of the winnings here as well. You take a look up at NASCAR TV. We'd invite you to get your 50/50 raffle tickets now. You can go ahead and scan that QR code on the NASCAR TV screen. Get into the Darlington Raceway 50/50, part of Darlington Shares, the beneficiary for this weekend's festivities. Scan now, and you can also find some of the ticket sellers throughout the speedway here that are offering a great opportunity for the 50/50. Word from NASCAR is that we will get the 1 to go signal when they come back through this time by to take us into stage number 2.
The IndyCar Series rolls into Nashville for the season finale, where Alex Palou looks to cap his historic campaign. That's tomorrow at 2 Eastern on Fox. And yeah, I'd be yelling like that too if I had the season that man in the middle has had. 8 wins, won the Indy 500, locked up his 4th championship. I know our IndyCar on Fox team's having a great time in Nashville, wrapping up the season. And here at Darlington Raceway, we've got one stage under our belts. Let's listen in to our leader's radio after he came down for that pit stop.
Damn, those tires must be bold. I don't think I've slid that far in my entire life. Yeah, when I first got on the brakes, I'm like, oh man, I'm going too slow. And then next thing I know, I'm 3 feet past the sign.
The tires are bald, Todd and Kevin.
I got news for you, Corey. Those tires aren't bald. See those little round dots? That's the marks to measure the depth of rubber actually on a tire. And there's plenty of rubber left. Tires get hot, they get slick, they don't stick to this old asphalt. They don't actually wear out.
Well, the other thing you see right there is all the debris on the tires, the rocks, the built-up rubber. When you go onto the apron here at Darlington, it sounds like you're going down a gravel road.
It does.
And so when you get to the pit stall, I mean, it's also a situation where you need to clean those tires off, spin the tires, and try to get those things as clean as possible, because all that debris is what's sliding along into that pit stall. But sounds like
he thought they were bald for racing. No, they're not bald. They just don't stick.
All right, first restart of the day coming your way. Stage number 2, Corey Heim leads. Grant Enfinger on the inside. Lane Riggs, Tyler Ankrum, row number 2. Green flag once again in the air.
Yeah, and you see Grant laying about a half a truck back right there, and you see him have a little bit of trouble getting those tires hooked up on the restart. That's always seems like the bottom line in the trucks and Xfinity, have a little bit of trouble spinning the tires, but losing a couple positions right here.
Daniel Hemrick on the move in that throwback. Buddy Baker's gray goes from 1980 up to 3rd, looking good.
And we'll watch Lane Riggs as this run goes on and see if, oh, Daniel on the outside of Lane. What a move through the 3 and 4.
Yeah, you see that momentum from that 19 truck, able to get to that right rear quarter panel of the 34 truck. But it'll be interesting to see if Lane has learned anything from the first run. I'm sure they made some adjustments to try to make those tire pressures last a little bit longer as he goes. But back to your point, Todd, as we see Hemrick on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get position on the 11 truck.
Oh, that's tough to do on new tires right there, because Corey's got so much grip on the outside, all that momentum. That's a tough pass on the bottom of new tires.
I'm so impressed with what Daniel Hemrick has done the last couple of days. He did a 170-mile bike marathon on Thursday, jumped in his truck yesterday in this heat and said he felt great. Now here he is trying to battle Corey Heim for the lead at Darlington.
Well, I tell you, Jamie, I've been impressed with what Daniel's done all year long. Not only getting the win at Martinsville, but he is week in and week out probably the most consistent truck in the top 10. Now we see Corey up there winning races and always running up front, but Daniel is just, he's always right there. And I think that just speaks for his experience behind the wheel and understanding what he has to do in these races. And he admitted he still had to learn a lot more about these trucks. They're a lot different than what he did when he ran here in 2019.
Caitlin.
You guys are talking about Daniel Hemrick. Had an opportunity to speak with him earlier, and he told me that crew chief change they made a couple weeks ago with Kevin Bellecourt has been hugely advantageous. He said Kevin has experience making it to the championship 4. He did it back in 2018 with Justin Haley. That combined with the championship experience that Daniel has on his own side, getting that title in the Xfinity Series, he believes they really will have an opportunity to potentially get this title here in the trucks this season. Jamie?
Yeah, bringing solid trucks week in and week out, to your point, Todd, very consistent.
Well, and it's been for Bill McAnally Racing, it's been a year of change. You know, you see Christian Eckes move on, crew chief go to the Cup Series, and so that stability that they had within the team has really had to be rebuilt. And with the rules and things that changed this year, it seems like it's taken them a little while to find the balance of their truck, get Daniel back in a rhythm in truck racing and understand what he needs. It's hard when you lose those key pieces of a team to go out and immediately fire off.
Well, one of the misconceptions with Daniel for this year was that was the same team Christian had last year, and it truly wasn't. I think there was one guy that was the same, so they actually had to rebuild this whole 19 team, and I'm doing a great job.
Great opportunity for them to take a veteran and an Xfinity Series champion to bring him on board for the Truck Series as the battle heats up again. This is what we have talked about, race in and race out this season. Lane Riggs to the outside, trying to get around Corey Heim.
Lane has got that outside lane figured out. He knows how far to drive it in, how much brake to use, and to be able to roll the center. But to your point earlier, Kevin, how much is he wearing those tires out? How much is he abusing them right now? Will it pay off at the end of this run, or is he going to back up at the end like he did the first time?
And if they made their truck a little bit better on the long run to be able to make it last a little bit longer, maybe Lane makes some adjustments in the truck to not slide around as much, whatever that is, if they can get 6 or 7 more laps out of this run. When we went green, we had 37 laps to go. We really saw him die somewhere around lap 30 last time. So this green flag run of laps is actually a little bit shorter than the 45 that we ran the first stage. So if they just picked up some crumbs here and there, maybe that gap closes at the end of this run, but we'll find out.
Great battles throughout, especially here in the top 5. We had media day last week, so we asked all 10 drivers, who are your 4, your championship 4 that'll go to Phoenix. Every single one of them said Lane Riggs. Pretty impressive for a guy who last year was the first time full-time he was Rookie of the Year, and just what he's done this year, picking up where he left off. As Lane Riggs continues to lead over Corey Heim, plenty more racing action from Darlington. Big announcement this week. We knew that Ram was going to make their return to NASCAR right here, actually, in the Craftsman Truck Series next year. But now we know what the team will be. Colleague Racing has partnered with Ram, and they will run 5 trucks full-time starting in 2026. So big news, great for the series, but guys, they've got a lot of work ahead to make that happen by Daytona.
That's an understatement, to say the least. I think when you look at putting 5 trucks on the racetrack, hiring teams, finding people, finding trucks, who your driver's going to be, who your crew chief's going to be, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the other teams to be able to keep their employees and keep their pieces in place. So it's going to really mix up the truck series with adding another factory organization and colleague into the mix.
One of the little things you don't think about in that is finding tractor trailers. They need 5 new trailers to haul these trucks around in, and you cannot buy them right now. There's none to be bought. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they have definitely got their work cut out for them.
Matt Colleague, Chris Rice, I'm sure they're on the phone morning till night now that this has been announced, but we're looking forward to seeing what they can do in the Truck Series next year. Meanwhile, here on track, Lane Riggs continues to lead over Corey Heim. Grant Enfinger holding steady to 3rd. Daniel Hemrick running strong in 4th, and Gio Ruggiero top 5. Let's get an update on Tyler Ankrum. Caitlin.
Yeah, Jamie had a chance to talk with Tyler in detail about his mindset approaching the postseason in these high-pressure situations. He told me that he's one of those drivers who's happier when he throws himself into the work more. The more he's involved and around the guys at the shop and knows the strategy, he said, the more calm I feel. I'm not one of those drivers who can just show up 30 minutes before practice. He said, I need 5 to 6 hours at the shop every week. And we mentioned that pit crew change he had there on the 18. Right now, the main feedback he gave was wrecking free into entry into 1. They did make an air pressure adjustment on that stop for the 18. Amanda?
We go back a couple positions. You'll find Rajah Caruth, who's racing in his 2nd playoff. He was so unhappy with his truck in the first stage. They made significant changes at that break, but he's been telling his team how much he loves the intensity of racing in the playoffs and says that it really raises him as a driver. He's been honest about the mistakes that he's made lately in the last 2 races and said that he just needs to get back to executing. And if you get on to Jake Garcia, a couple positions back, he had to serve a penalty for overshooting his pit box. I do understand that that has been served. He had to drop to the rear for that penalty. But as he gets going here at the start of the race, he was racing on the splitter, but says the truck's getting better, guys.
Jake Garcia up to 15th. And Ty Majeski, of note, he took the wave around after that round of stops. Remember, he had to come down pit road about 4 laps before the end of the stage for a tire that had been cut because he ran over some debris.
Yeah, and when you talk about Jake Garcia and the mistake and being able to rebound, and then you talk about Ty Majeski, our playoff drivers, we've got 4 of them right up in the front. Right now they're thinking, okay, this is a day where I can put myself in position to make up a little bit of a gap over the guys that are having trouble today. So I think Lane Riggs, Corey Heim, Grant Enfinger, they're the guys that are in the mix from a speed standpoint to win this race. Hemrick's not far behind. So you see the first 4 of those guys, but Jake Garcia and these other guys that have had things happen, how do we minimize the points lost today and keep ourselves in the game for the next 2 rounds?
And we talk about this playoff schedule, and we talk about that 2nd round and how all of those racetracks are wild cards. Well, I kind of put Darlington in that same category because of the things we've seen today. The tire fall off, the slipping around, the getting in the wall, flat tires. You can cause yourself more harm at this racetrack by overdriving it than you can good, and we've seen that a couple times today with some playoff drivers.
Talk about Jake Garcia right there. Just got an update on him, but he's the youngest in the playoff scenario, and I know he's been nervous, and he said now that we're resetting, we got to focus on the championship. There's nerves, and not to mention we're kicking off the playoffs for the first time ever at Darlington. To your point, Todd, I mean, it takes a lot of experience to figure this place out, and then you have Jake Garcia who's just trying to hang on here.
And you know, we watched Jake last week, and I mentioned this yesterday. I actually told Jake this. I think last week at Richmond was probably the smartest race that he has raced in his career. Had a truck that could go up and run in the top 5, but he knew what he had to do, beat his teammate Ben Rhodes to make it into the playoffs, and he did that. And that just tells me that Jake's racecraft is getting better all the time. His experience level, the things he does, he's understanding what these races take. And today, You know, you watch this truck right here. He's not out of control. He's driving it straight, and I think he's figured out that you can't overdrive these trucks.
Jake Garcia in 15th right now. You talked about that great effort at Richmond to race his way into the playoffs. He beat out his teammate, a two-time champion in Ben Rhodes. Lane Riggs continues to lead here, 37 laps and counting. He's got a solid truck. Can he hang on for his third win of the season? Welcome back to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from Darlington Raceway. Had one caution today, the end of stage number 1. 8 to go here in stage number 2. Lane Riggs continues to lead. It's been eventful so far, and it's been fun watching the tire management or lack of tire management so far.
Well, they've done a really good job in making this truck better. From the first run to the second run, it seems to have been able to hang on a little bit more this run than it did the last run. So good job by those 34 guys in making great adjustments, Todd.
And you watch these times the last few laps, and Lane's actually starting to pull back away from Corey, which is exactly the opposite of what we saw that last run. Crew Chief Dylan Capello, he's a smart guy. There's no doubt about it. He's made some air pressure adjustments that have made a tremendous difference. And I called yesterday. I thought Lane was going to be one of the guys to beat, just because from racing late models in the Southeast, and they don't get to change tires, and he understood tire management. And I think maybe now that they've got the air pressures right where he can do it, he's managed his tires a little better, and it's paying off right here at the end of the run.
One driver we haven't mentioned today is Corey Day, having a solid run, up 5 spots, but moments ago, a little close for comfort. We're a little 3 wide. Watch this. Corey Day in the 7 truck, Trevor Bayne on the outside, and that's Nathan Bird they're going around.
That's pretty common right here at Darlington. A slower truck, a guy struggling, and a couple fast ones come up, and the closing rate is so quick, they don't really know what to do. And Nathan did a great job by not doing anything. Just stay in the middle, stay in your lane, let those guys go around him.
That was a great picture to be able to tell. This track is really only about 3 truck widths wide. Yeah. There is not a lot of room on the racing surface, and it's really hard to tell how narrow it is actually on TV. But when you're in that race vehicle, man, does it feel narrow, because it is.
Very narrow as Corey LaJoie goes around. Tanner Gray picks up that 6th spot.
Corey's doing pretty good here. He started in 9th in this race. We haven't talked about him, haven't had to show him, and he's gained 3 spots up in the 6th. And he's another one of these guys, a lot of laps around here in a Cup car, and the horsepower difference between a Cup car and a truck makes it a little easier for someone like Corey to manage that horsepower in these trucks.
Let's listen to Raja Caruth's radio.
Around the fender well. It's not bad. It is bad. Anything is bad. I told him to take care of it. Please tell him to take care of it. Okay, don't yell at me. Well, I told you to tell him to take care of it. I ain't heard you said it once.
That little crew chief spotter action.
Yeah, that's channel 2 that the driver is not hearing, and the crew chief is frustrated with the spotter for not being aggressive enough and telling his driver to take care of the vehicle, and when he heard that he touched the fence a little bit, it's not too bad. Crew chief didn't want to hear any of it.
Well, that's crew chief Kevin Bono, man. Bono's been around the sport a long time, and he's never been known for patience or sympathy. And he's gonna ride his driver. And you know, Raja, this is only his 2nd race here at Darlington. He's got to understand, and he's gonna figure it out when he gets to the fence that you do have to back it down, and that's what Bono was trying to relay to the spotter, to relay to him. Slow it down, kid.
Amazing how much they have to come off of the throttle. Raja Caruth back in 15th. Tanner Gray, been in the conversation, been in the top 10 all day today.
Yeah, you see those trucks off of turn 2. There's a patch over in that corner. You see those trucks hit that bump, and it continues to get worse as you go back to the racetrack. You see those trucks move around. That bump is massive off of turn 2, but we're on our final lap here, Jamie, of stage 2.
Just like that, the laps are flying by, and Lane Riggs has been on it. He told us yesterday after he got the pole, he said, "We are the fastest truck." He had the smile that lit up a room as he works his way around lap traffic. Lane Riggs had never had a stage win before this season. We'll see that green and white checker flag in the air, and that is his 7th stage win of 2025. This team has just been on it. Dylan Capello, his crew chief. Michael Waltrip, who's not here with us today, just texted us and reminded us Dylan Capello, crew chief, getting married next weekend. So a little extra motivation to go out with a win today. So Lane Riggs picks up the win over Corey Heim, Grant Enfinger, Daniel Hemrick, and Gio Ruggiero, your top 5. We'll be back for pit stops after this.
Stage 2 winner matches what Corey Heim did in the opening stage. Let's check in on an update on the Xfinity fastest lap, and it remains as it was at the end of stage number 1. Chandler Smith, 163.2. If he can hold on to that, he will get that valuable championship point. Grant Enfinger and Lane Riggs, your top 3 in the fastest lap category. It's a Silver Slammer 200. Let's go trackside to Darrell Mott.
Well, I am track adjacent. I'm right outside the track at the NASCAR Experience, which is in the fan zone, because they are setting the stage for the concert that is happening right after today's truck race. There's Blair's West right now. They're getting their sound check ready, and they're going to put on a big concert tonight for you. You got to hear them during the national anthem, which was fantastic, and now you can come out and enjoy a free concert right here at the fan zone. And while you're here, you'll get to take in some classic cars. We got a bunch of cool race cars here, and then there's some shaded area as well if you've had your share of sun today. But don't forget also, you're invited to the concert, and then tomorrow you can come to the NASCAR Experience and check out some great Q&As. It's going to be a busy, busy day, but we got some more truck racing coming up.
Yeah, well, indeed, there are a lot of fun happening here at the racetrack. If you are making plans to join us tomorrow, of course, first of all, enjoy tonight's post-race festivities. We've got the concert in the NASCAR Experience in the fan zone. Blair's West will be playing immediately after the checkered flag in today's Silver or Slammer 200.
Awesome.
We hope to see you there.
Right there.
And we hope to see you back here again.
So comment on that. Later today, action shifts to Portland International Raceway for the Xfinity Series with practice and qualifying at 3 Eastern on the CW app and racing on the CW at 7:30 Eastern. Adam Alexander and team will have that call. And guys, we had another announcement this week. The 2026 schedule came out, and where's that? St. Petersburg, Florida. The Craftsman Truck Series will be racing a doubleheader with the IndyCar Series. That's going to be fun. A street race.
Yeah, you think they're worried about the right sides or the left sides of their vehicles caving in at Darlington.
When we talked about, you just talked about how narrow turn Darlington is. That place had 2 less crews than Darlington.
A lot of road courses next year.
Course. Yeah, but that street course there in San Diego is going to be the same way. Those street courses, not much room for air.
No.
I've found that out myself when I went to Chicago for the first time. I think I crashed twice, so not very forgiving.
You were contending with a lot of rain, too, that first year in Chicago. But exciting things to look forward to for all 3 series in 2026. But it's been exciting today. Corey Heim picked up stage number 1. Lane Riggs picked up stage number 2. He looks to be the truck to beat right now. Getting a lot more cloud cover than we had at the start of this race. A lot of adjustments and a lot of happy drivers after they get this new set of tires.
Well, we've heard a lot of them talk about this daytime race, and Todd, you've run here in the middle of the day at Darlington, and there is no comparison to nighttime at Darlington. It is a handful when you get that sun shining on the racetrack and slipping and sliding in the middle of the day. This is I vote for all races to be in the day at Darlington because they're absolutely spectacular to drive and watch.
All right, they're all coming your way, Amanda.
Yeah, you're going to watch Grant Enfinger come down here. They were just talking about strategy in this last stage of what it's going to look like if this race goes green the entire way to go. But as crew chief said, we'll talk about that after we get this pit stop done. As you see Grant pull in, his team was stretching out before of this pit stop. Grant was saying that the balance is good on the truck, but he keeps losing that grip, especially at the top, Caitlin.
Well, taking a look at Lane Riggs in the middle of your screen, he says, I have to be better in 3 and 4. He did note he never fired off tight. His crew chief Dylan Capello saying they'll do half the wedge adjustment they did on that first stop. For Corey Heim at the bottom of your screen, he says he's just too free that run. He said, I need to fire off better. I've got nothing for that 34 in the first 20 laps.
As you saw there, those chassis adjustments, they got him done. 4 fresh tires battle off pit road. Looks like Grant Enfinger will get it done. Well done by his team, picking up 2 spots. Corey Heim moves up 1. Lane Riggs, you see there, lost 3 positions. Stage number 3, 57 laps coming up. We're hearing the 34 had an issue.
I was watching that, Jamie. The right rear tire changer, I don't think that he got all the lugs loose. Let's see. Yeah, 1 hung on it, and he had to go back at it. Boy, what a costly mistake. You cannot lose track position at Darlington. That just tells you how important these pit crews are. They got to be spot on. That's why these guys work out and practice. They're athletes now to try to do this job without making these kind of mistakes. And that really was a mental mistake.
And that would be the reason he gave up the lead after that stop. All right, 3rd and final stage from Darlington Raceway coming your way. Who will it be? Stay with us.
great to host you here for the start of the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs tomorrow. Denny Hamlin on the pole position for the Cookout Southern 500, 75-year tradition here at Darlington Raceway, and you are experiencing every bit of this as we get ready for the final stage here today in the Sober or Slammer 200. One of the playoff contenders is a 52 truck of Caden Honeycutt. Got his lap back by being the first truck one lap down when the green and white checkered flag fell for the end of stage number 2. He's now got fresh tires and will rejoin his tail into the field. We'll see if he can make up for the struggle he had with a right front tire that was flat in the beginning of stage 1. We're headed to the final stage here in Darlington. Turns 3 and 4, they'll get the 1 to go signal this time by the start finish line and set us up for the final stage of this one here today. It's been a great race so far. You had a great battle between Corey Heim and Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs will have to start 4th when we get back under the green flag. They'll flash across the start finish line. 1 to go signal from atop the flag stand, and they will choose.
Tonight on Baseball Night in America, the Tigers continue their fight for the AL Central against the Royals. Or you may see the Mariners take on the Guardians or the Orioles Giants game. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's tonight, 7 Eastern on Fox. And we welcome you back here to Darlington Raceway for the Craftsman Truck Series playoff race number 1. Stage points on the day. They've been good to that man. Lane Riggs, Corey Heim, both tied with 19 apiece.
Yeah, and that's important as you go through the playoffs, and really all year they've acquired those points. But we've got, a few guys that have had trouble today that haven't scored any stage points, and that is what you want to do. Give yourself a cushion so you can go after those wins and gain more points as you go through some rounds. But you see 1st through 5th right there, pretty good cushion points-wise, but Caden Honeycutt, he got himself back on the lead lap, got the lucky dog, going to put himself in position to close that gap, and he can climb all the way up to 7th pretty easily.
Caden Honeycutt, one of 4 playoff drivers who received 0 playoff points so far today. Ty Majeski, another one, Chandler Smith, and Jake Garcia. Restart looking just like it did last time around. Corey Heim on the outside, Grant Enfinger on the inside. Remember, Lane Riggs was the leader, had trouble on pit road. He is restarting in the 2nd row. Green flag in the air. Stage number 3 is underway. 49 laps to go. And
Enfinger did a much better job this time of being able to time that restart. Heim kind of checked up, got a shot in the rear bumper there, and Grant Enfinger was able to keep his position going into turn 1, but Heim's going to clear him off of turn 2.
Lane Riggs was behind Grant there, and he gave him a little help too. They had 2 motors going against 1.
That's hard to do here and keep the rear tires from spinning, but you see Grant with a great run on the bottom of the racetrack.
Look at that on board. Look at Lane Riggs wasting no time at all over the bumper of Corey Heim. Daniel Hemrick strong on the restarts today. There he is right there going around the outside of Grant Enfinger. Gio Ruggiero, the best non-playoff driver today, back there, right there in the number 17, trying to get a look and get around Grant Enfinger.
And I've been so impressed with Gio as he has gone through the year. He just continues to get better and better. And at a track like Darlington, to keep yourself in the game all day, be running up there in the top 5, entering this final stage, great job by Gio and his team.
I mean, as a rookie, first time seeing this place, you get 25 minutes of practice, 1 lap of qualifying, and that's it.
Well, these kids they're so well prepared today with all the simulator. We heard Ty Majeski talking about being in the simulator last night, working on setup stuff and things that they could change with their truck. There's such a commitment to be, if you want to be elite at this, to be able to put the time in the simulator, the time in with your team and all those things. And Gio and his group have done a great job in continuing to get better.
The thing about Gio that's impressed me is he's had speed right from the minute he got in the truck series, but he's made a lot of mistakes, and he's not, second half of this regular season, he didn't make those same mistakes.
Guys, I'm really impressed with Trevor Bayne. Hasn't been in a truck since the end of 2023. What does he have in common with the guys around him? He is the driver coach for Gio Ruggiero, who's 1 spot ahead of him. Also for Corey Heim. I mean, he's holding a pretty wheel today, jumping back in at this place. But I would imagine all the sim that he's in there with these guys, looking at their data and studying like the drivers, has really helped him.
Well, there's nothing better than the real life experience.
Exactly.
Being able to have those conversations of things that actually happen. That not only helps with the driver feedback, but it also helps with the team to have that information to know what you need. As you see Lane getting the fence right there, it looked like through the middle of 3 and 4.
Grant Enfinger trying to push the issue there. Let's get an update on Corey Heim, the leader, Caitlin.
Yeah, Jamie, well, we've seen a number of competitors with tire issues plaguing them throughout this race. Same for Corey Heim, actually. We did confirm with the team towards the tail end of stage 2, he did have a right front tire going down. So we saw the team assessing the tires. Hopefully that will not be an issue for this group as the race continues.
Lucky timing for him with that tire going down, comes down pit road. No harm, no foul. Here he is where he's most comfortable leading the field.
And we talk about abusing the tires. And we watched these 3 right here in the last 2 laps battling and sideways. Lane was sideways in the middle of 1 and 2 last night. And there's that 11 truck out front just on cruise control, saving those tires. So we'll see how bad it hurts them here in the middle of this run. But Kevin, we talked about changing tires and the strategy. Now they got 2 sets laying in the pits. I'm not a crew chief, and I never claimed to be, but I'm thinking I'm going to split this stage in half, and then if we get a late caution, I'm still going to have that set for that late caution.
Well, we know how many we're going to put on, so for you and I, if we are going to pit, we know that we're going to put 4 tires on.
Yeah.
That part of the strategy is pretty simple. So I think as we've seen these runs go in the first 2 stages, Lane Riggs and Corey Heim have been really even. Going back to that track position and that pit stop, we've seen Lane Riggs go up and pass Corey Heim. We know that Heim had some trouble with the right front tire at the end right here. So there's a lot of different ways that this could play out here at the end of this race.
Be interesting to be a crew chief right now and try to make that decision, because we've only had 2 cautions today, guys, and that was for the end of both stages.
I would not call it interesting. I'd call it like, get me out of here. I don't want to make this decision. A lot of stress, yeah, for sure. These 2 going at it hard. Daniel Hemrick on the outside, Grant Enfinger. It is so bad to be racing this hard. I mean, you want to go up there, you want to pass that guy. That's what we do as race car drivers. You go after that guy in front of you. But this early in this run, to be abusing the tires, let's call it, as hard as they are, and I don't know how smart that is. And Grant keeps trying. He's getting in the corner way better than Daniel on the outside. And he clears him.
Such a great perspective there. You see how rough this racetrack is, how hard these drivers are working inside. Corey Heim continues to lead over Lane Riggs here. 39 laps to go from Darlington Raceway. We're going to step aside, but you won't miss a thing. We're going box side by side. New leader, Lane Riggs, regains the lead over Corey Hyman. You saw it all on Fox side by side. But Todd, you don't like what you're seeing from Lane right now. Is he pushing too hard?
Oh, man, I'm sitting here saying, slow down, Lane. Keep, you watch him race, running these laps, and he's keeping pace with 11. And now he's passed them. And doing that, you watch this truck, and it's just every once in a while it'll pop sideways. Every once in a while you see it push a little bit. And when you do that, it just takes the good off the tire more and more. And I just call it abusing it, calling it what you want. It's not going to be good. But we saw in that last run that this truck lasted more through the run than it did the first time. So maybe, I could be totally wrong. I probably am.
Yeah, and I think with the 11 truck, that was more the line that I was traditionally used to running. The bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4, kind of the middle of the road on the apron here, middle of the road through the middle of 1 and 2 right here in the cleaner asphalt. As you go through the run, that you see all the rubber right there in that top lane. It kind of keeps you out of the rubber, keeps your truck from sliding around more. The thing that we don't know about this 11 truck is when that tire started to go down. We saw him match the pace at the end of the last run with that 34 truck, but did the tire go down coming onto pit road? Did the tire go down at the end of the run? We don't really know that answer until we get towards the end of this run with these trucks.
Corey Heim with a 1 second lead. Excuse me, Lane Riggs with a 1 second lead over Corey Heim. Settled down maybe a little bit, Todd.
Well, it wasn't 8 laps ago, 10 laps ago. Lane was 3/10 of a second behind Corey. So how much harder is he abusing his tires than Corey? That's the part that worries me.
Well, I think the other thing to be said about where, as we watch Grant Enfinger here, where the 34 truck is running up against the racetrack, that bigger arc and not pinching the truck down and not going on the apron and all those things. Which one is better as we go along? After the first run, I would tell you that Corey Heim had by far the best long run truck, but you see that 34 truck, just like you're talking about right there. When that back starts slipping, it starts to make me a little bit nervous. But when I had a truck or a car that I felt like fell off at the end of the run more than the guy behind me, I was always just go as fast as I could go without slipping and see how far you could get ahead and hope that timed out at the end of the run.
Well, I think that is the razor's edge we talk about at Darlington. Right? You got to get it on that edge, but when you step over that edge, you abuse the tires and you take the chance of getting in the wall and all those things that come with it. So how hard do you push it?
Yeah. And I think right there with Lane's truck, I like that right front tire on those hash marks through 1 and 2. I don't like when you're below those hash marks or slide up above those hash marks. I feel like if you can lock that right front tire onto those hash marks on the bottom, now that they've built up rubber, and be able to just creep that thing around there, give it a little bit of assistance as you go around the corner. You see him hook those hash marks right there in that seam. It just makes the truck turn, and it keeps you from having to throttle it and slide it and push the right front tires without that assistance.
And I think what we're seeing right here, I think that just shows the importance of a good spotter. Because Lane didn't know where Corey's running. I guarantee his spotter told him, hey, 11's running on the bottom. Why don't you try it a couple laps?
27 laps to go here. I know you two were both talking about, if you were a crew chief, what do? Do you pit under green for fresh tires? I know the drivers are talking about it. What are you hearing, Amanda?
Hey, Jamie, yeah, I want to get some perspective down here. I stopped by and talked to the crew chief of Gio Ruggiero, who's running in 5th. I also talked to Caden Honeycutt's crew chief, who's running in 15th. Both crew chiefs said that if this thing stays green to the end, we are staying out. It would just be too risky with the time needed on pit road to risk the race for how it's running at present.
And that's the thing, it just takes so much time to get off the racetrack, get down pit road. You're going to be way faster than everybody else with those new tires. It's just the amount of time that it takes to pit road that it's be hard to make it up.
Well, now I'm living proof of the other side of that story, that what we saw in the beginning of this, the opening, where I was wrecking and winning the race. Go ahead, Jamie.
We're taking a look right now at Trevor Bayne, hearing that he got the wall just a little bit. Doesn't seem like he has too much damage, but here's that moment. Well, Darlington stripe.
Well, that's the Darlington stripe that you don't want when you hit it with the tail and it grabs it and it flips it into the right front, because that's where we've seen these guys get in trouble with the right front fender cutting the tire down. But that's, if you hit it, you kind of want to hit it square.
Yeah. Yeah, that slap is what pushes it in on the tire. See if we can get a look at that right front. Yeah, it's in a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely in.
Hopefully it's not rubbing. But back to what I was saying, when I won that race and sliding across with Jamie McMurray, we both pitted under green with about 30 laps to go. Steve Grissom was running third and did not pit the rest of the race. Jamie and myself ran him down. We went a lap down. We made our lap up, ran all the way around, passed him with 4 laps to go for us to take the win in the second place. So I think it can go both ways.
I think that right now your strategy that ship has sailed, Todd. I think that it's
23 to go. It's going to be tough to make it up at that point.
Yeah, I think that strategy has come and gone with that window. You know, it takes 29 seconds plus the stop with the lost time under.
Well, we did it with 30 laps.
Yeah.
So it's the 7 laps make a big difference.
About 21 seconds. When you think about it, I mean, it's 2.5, 3 seconds a lap when, you know, the difference for a little bit of that time. So, you know, these guys are out there on these tires slipping and sliding to the end right here, unless they get a caution. And based on everything that we've seen today, it has that tendency to go green, because they get so slow, as you see Ben Rhodes sideways right there going up the hill.
You can see him working the wheel. First time we've seen Ben Rhodes up inside the top 10. Love the look of this truck. He's actually our only former winner in the field. Won back the COVID race in 2020, I believe. Did you win the Cup race?
I did. Yeah, that COVID Cup race.
What a day that was, huh?
It was a wild day.
No fans.
No fans in the grandstands. You could hear as we see a race for the lead here. That's way more important in my story.
Good thing is we've got a lot of fans that are enjoying this battle for the lead right now.
And I think, like you said, Todd, I think that 34 truck, slipping, sliding, has used a little bit more, and now we're starting to see when that 11 truck has been strong at the end of these runs, starting to show up now that all the air's in the tires.
Our leaders have crossed the line. That means we've reached our Craftsman 20 to go as Corey Heim gets around Lane Riggs.
He's got a problem.
I think he's got a flat.
Lane is off the pace. Here comes Grant Enfinger, and around goes Caden Honeycutt. Caution is out.
My goodness, what a lucky break for Lane Riggs right there. Not so lucky for Honeycutt.
That happened in a hurry. Battle for the lead. Corey gets around. Lane's got an issue, and we have the first caution for incident today.
Yeah, and you see the right side. You can't see it right here, but the right side of that 52 truck is torn up pretty good.
Let's listen to Lane Riggs' radio.
Sorry, guys, right front down.
There you have it.
You know, just whether he ran something over or not, we don't know. But you know, a lot of times you run the things so hard, it just. But I gotta believe he run something over, because we saw them other tires; they weren't wore out.
Take a look at what happened here. Caden Honeycutt, Andres Perez.
And the hard part about it looks like Honeycutt just ran him over right there, but the hard part about that turn 4 exit, when you're down there running the bottom, a lot of times when you come off the apron, that thing will take off on you as it goes up the racetrack and come out from underneath you with the back or slide the front, and it happens in a hurry. You run out of space right there.
On board with Raja Karuth. Hard to see what exactly happened there.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely that situation where you pop up off the apron right there, up onto the racetrack, and that sometimes it just gets away from you, and that's what happened with that 52 truck right there, getting into the side of the 77.
Well, and when you're on the apron also, the corner radius actually gets a little tighter, which makes it want to push. So, and then when you get somebody outside of you, it's depending on where you're at, it can even get worse.
So many issues for our playoff drivers today. When you look at a Grant Enfinger and a Daniel Hemrick and Ankrum and all these guys that have just had solid days, that just haven't had any trouble, if they can get through these last few laps, they're going to have just an absolutely phenomenal points day for themselves here at Darlington.
Ty Majeski's had a nice rebound too. He had to pit earlier in the race for tires. That set him back. Then he took the waiver and got back on the lead lap. He's back up to 10th now. Pits are open. They're coming your way. Amanda.
Yeah, Jamie, and a lot of people call these stops the money shot because this could be what makes or break the race here today. And for Grant Enfinger, they were talking about adjustments and what they're going to do. And Grant said, don't do much of anything. His crew chief did tell him they're going to take about a half a pound of pressure out of that left rear as Grant gets here. The crew is going to get over the wall. Caitlin, this one matters.
This one certainly does matter. Lane Briggs saying, I don't need much change. Had a pretty dejected tone over the radio after having that tire go down there for the 34. And Corey Heim, 7 wins on the year, poised to potentially get his 8th. Said fired off pretty good. Might need to be a little tighter for the 11th.
Briggs with a sliding stop. They get that right front tire off, get the 4 fresh tires on. More adjustments.
Yeah, and they've got all kinds of issues. They had to go get a tire that was out of the box. They were pulling on the fender right there.
The right front had rolled out in front of the truck. Things go from bad to worse for Lane Riggs, who's led the most laps in this race, and there he is still on pit road, fixing that damage on the right front after this incident right here. Lane Riggs loses that right front, slows up Corey Heim to the lead.
Right front contact in the safer barrier. Before that, the problems for Lane Riggs when his tire went down going into turn 1 and made contact with the outside wall. Lane Riggs, his team on the pit lane trying to get that right front repaired as much as possible. The race leader coming down the main straightaway, and Lane Riggs still on pit road. Wants to try to see if he can get out before the pace truck, and he will, to stay on the lead lap, because he'll only fall back to 21st if he can keep that truck on the lead lap and hopefully gain some more ground in the closing 16 laps of the Silver Slammer 200 and the opening race of the 2025 NASCAR Craftsman Series playoffs. Signal this time through, and when they get the green flag, there'll be just 14 laps to go to settle the issue here in Darlington today. And you've got the playoff drivers at the front of the field, and we saw how quick Grant Enfinger was on the early start last time through, challenging Corey Heim for the lead. They'll have the chance to do it again when they choose here, this time by 1 lap to the green flag.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway, where the laps are winding down and things have completely changed with this caution. Some new faces perhaps with a chance to take the win, but they got to get around that 11 truck of Corey Heim.
Well, right now the whole complexion of this race has completely changed because we went from save tires, coming to 14 laps to go, and now it's just hammer down, get everything that you can get. So we've seen the 19 truck be really good on the restarts. We know that Grant Enfinger will be aggressive, so this is going to be an interesting, a lot of it's going to depend on the launch, so it's going to be an interesting 14 laps here at the end of this race.
The guys in red on the pylon on the left, those are the playoff drivers. The ones just in white, well, they're just here. They want to win. They want to go out this season with a win. Gio Ruggiero in fourth, having a great day, looking for his first career win. Got Corey Heim, Grant Enfinger, green flag, back in the air.
Yeah, and you see Grant Enfinger struggle that time on the restart like he did a couple restarts ago. Didn't time it as well as the last one.
Watch the 19 truck on the outside. He's been so good on the restarts.
Hang on the outside, yes he does. That's what he needed to do right there.
Here comes Gio Ruggiero in the 17. Ty Majeski, guys, I had just said he was in 10th. Look at him moving through the pack.
Yeah, Ty Majeski and his team have done a great job all day of just being very methodical about putting themselves back in a position to have a solid day, not take themselves out of contention. We've seen Lane Riggs, Caden Honeycutt, Chandler Smith, all these guys have trouble take themselves out of having a good day.
Trevor Bayne right there in the number 1 truck. Got into the wall with the front and the back, but not too bad. He was able to get tires there, hang on to the top 10 where he's ran all day long.
You can tell by watching these guys that they are up on the wheel every corner, every lap. As we watch the 11 truck driving away from him. I really thought Daniel had a chance to run, but this 11 truck is just too strong. Short run.
Well, the 11 truck and the 34 truck of Lane Riggs, they've definitely had the trucks that seem to match each other all day, but you see Daniel Hemrick hanging right there.
He's holding with him now.
Had a little better lap time than Corey Heim that last lap. He ran a 67, Heim ran a 79, so this isn't over.
Daniel Hemrick with the throwback paint scheme in the 19, won earlier this season at Martinsville. Did the backflip off the truck after winning. He's trying to take a peek. He is closing that gap. New crew chief a few weeks ago. Things seem to be working out great. They're hitting their stride just in time as we kick off the playoffs here.
He closed a big gap on that corner right there. Running that low line. A shorter way around on these new tires.
Talked so much about the experience and everything that goes with building that program on that 19 truck back up to where it needed to be to fire off in the playoffs and have themselves in a position to be racing for a win. Shows you how far the progression of that team has come. You talk about a crew chief change, you talk all these things that have changed within Bill McAnally Racing. They're in a position to be contenders as they go through this playoff run.
And for Daniel Hemrick, right, he's been running in the Cup Series. He was in the Xfinity Series. He hasn't run full-time here since 2016. And we heard from Chandler Smith, who had that mistake earlier in the race. He said, these are different vehicles than the Xfinity car, and you just have to flip that switch and know that you have to drive it differently at Darlington.
Yeah, well, they had that one lap that was the same, and since then, Corey has been about a 10.5 per lap faster than Daniel has.
Battle for 11th right here. Raja Karuth, Ben Rhodes going the wrong way. Great side-by-side battles. Love this racetrack. More action to come. The Cup Series be here tomorrow. Connor Mozak, 81, 14th.
See Connor down on the bottom, and now you see Jake Garcia. And his day is he's had a solid day.
How about this guy right here?
Timmy Hill.
This is incredible. What a great run for Timmy.
This
family-owned team. I think he's only run like 7 or 8 races this year.
It's a little team that could. He won practice yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Fastest truck out there. We wanted to get a chance to talk about him, and finally we are, as he's having another top 10 run around here. This is like his best racetrack. I mean, that's pretty cool to have in your resume. Darlington, best career finishes.
That speaks volumes for really what kind of driver Timmy really is. If you can do that well at Darlington, you've got some talent for sure.
Timmy looking for his 3rd career top 10 finish right here at Darlington.
Well, you talk about this guy, Jamie, Corey Heim, as we go towards the end of the race, and this team and everything that they have done throughout the year. And we talk about their accomplishments and where they have won and where they haven't won. But it's been a year like no other.
I don't want to wish anybody bad luck, but I would really love to see a caution right now. The fastest truck on the track right now is Ty Majeski, consistently lap after lap. If he could get up there and run this 11, it would be an incredible race.
It's nice to see how strong the 98 team of Ty Majeski is. It's been hit or miss for him this year. He said it's been the worst year that he's had at ThorSport, but I'll tell you, they came out at Richmond Swing and just dominated there, and today they had a little setback earlier, but look at him, up to 4th.
We would call this a championship day.
Yes, it is.
When you can rebound from a mistake or something going wrong, and you know it's going to happen, is how does the driver react? How does the team react? What do we have to do? And it's all about resetting those goals to be able to say, all right, we've had a flat tire. We know we're going to be behind on this run. Let's not get lapped. Now let's put the tires on. We get to restart up front. Let's make up 7 or 8 spots. And now we're talking about a top 5 run. Ty's sitting here running 4th. These are the days that make your championships, by keeping yourself in contention and not taking yourself out and having a meltdown.
And we've seen this the past 3 years, really, with Joe, Shearer's crew chief, and Ty. They perform in the playoffs. They may not have won a race to this point, but they're going to perform in the playoffs.
Peak when it matters most. Oh, Gio Ruggiero, been running top 5 most of the day. He has an issue. He comes down pit road. We stay green with 2 to go. Corey Heim, our leader, though. You can't say enough about this guy. The records he's already broken this year. The next record he has his sights set on is most wins in a season. Comes in here with 7 wins. The record stands at 9. 9 wins by Greg Biffle back in 1999. Corey Heim certainly on track to do just that. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go here at Darlington.
Well, you've seen the strength of this 11 team all year. They've been in contention with lane rigs most of the day, but got a great restart here on the final run of this race and gave himself the lead. Clean track, and he's taking advantage of it.
2021, Corey Heim flexed that muscle and showed the world who he was in the Truck Series. He made his debut, led laps that day. He comes back in 2025, and Corey Heim gets it done. It's Heim time at Darlington. Eighth win of the season.
Timmy Hill coming in 8th. How about that?
Great finish
Fantastic.
for Timmy Hill. Got those stories throughout. Trevor Bayne, a top 5 finish. Welcome back to the driver's seat, my friend.
Welcome back to the Truck Series. We had Corey Heim winning. You got Trevor Bayne in 5th. Timmy Hill. I mean, that says a lot about this series. There's not many more vehicles that I'd rather watch on the racetrack than the Truck Series. They always put on a great show, and you never know what's going to pop up, and today we had some great stories.
I want to give a little shout out to Corey Day also. Last 2 races, top 5s, bringing in 9s right now, finally getting it together.
He's got these burnouts down to a science.
I was never good at burnouts.
He's running out of room for win stickers, guys.
Well,
it's a nice problem to have.
That's a good problem to have.
Well, his team did excellent work on pit road today. Good adjustments by Scott Cipodelli.
You know, I know a lot of people oh, there goes our left rear. I know a lot of people are probably tired of seeing this 11 in victory lane, but you have got to hand it to them. They are that good.
Well, you see the cancer ribbon right over his door there, and Judy Connor, it is Honor a Cancer Hero Month, and NASCAR recognizing cancer heroes. Well done by all by doing that. Judy riding along. Corey Heim, what time is it? It's Heim time. The fans like it.
The fans always like it when the tires blow out and the fenders blow off. You know, there's definitely a showmanship part of this piece to make those fans excited. But Corey Heim's got a bright future in this sport. He's obviously dominating the truck series, but he's going to be successful on Sundays too. I love his demeanor. I love how he approaches the races, and you know, I think that the kid has a bright future somewhere.
Saw David Gilliland, co-owner of this team down there. It's got to be fun. Look at Corey's pointing out a kid he wants to give that flag to. As he gets that helmet off. Caitlin Vinci is down there to hear from our winner.
Yes, Jamie, well, it wasn't without some intrigue. Had a tire going down at the end of stage 2. Had to execute as well in that final restart. Corey, how did you and your team rise to the occasion to get this one?
I don't know. Yeah, that tire going down, like you mentioned, at the end of stage 2, and I felt it swing tight on me pretty quick. Luckily, it wasn't a complete blowout, or else obviously we would have been in trouble. But held with it, and you know, I felt like the 34 and the 38, you know, were really good all day. But I could make a little bit of speed on the wall. It was such a high-risk play. You know, if you scrub it, I mean, you saw so many people have those right front issues. So if you, as much as just scrub the wall, you were in bad shape. So put a little pressure on the 34, and he got into it. And we were able to take advantage of it. So just so proud of these Tricon guys. It feels like I'm in a dream. Just eight wins this year is phenomenal, man. I just it's crazy to look back on, but we've also got so much to look forward to. So yeah, just really speechless as far as the effort. Them and Toyota, Safe Flight, just it's been an awesome ride, and we're gonna keep it going.
You mentioned the 8 wins. Talk to your crew chief, Scott Cipodelli, about your talent levels, but he also mentioned the strength of this team. How special is this group?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a very, very, it's just a big blessing really to be with a group like this. I mean, I think it's every racer's dream to, you know, be able to compete at a high level, but also just have a team that's capable to give you fast chungers every weekend. So I couldn't ask for more of this group. Made great adjustments all day, and frankly, my whole truck, you know, full-time career has just been spent with these guys, and I've loved every second of it.
Congratulations. Win number 8 for Corey Heim and company, advancing on to the next round here in the Truck Series. Jamie?
Yes, Caitlin, a dream come true for Corey Heim and that entire team. Corey's average finish in his 3 previous races here at Darlington, 20.5. Now, he's run a lot better than that, but hasn't been able to get it done. And today, he blew that out of the water, getting the win for the 8th time, looking to set that record. And if not, maybe break that record as he advances to the round of 8. Corey Heim wins our first playoff race. We'll hear from many more of our competitors coming up. Stay with us from Darlington.